again, as a high achiever, you tend to try to almost overcomplicate things because you just have bigger dreams and you have bigger desires and bigger wishes.
Well, you think that you can do more because you maybe have the capacity to do more, but the simpler it is, the better it is. Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, everybody, we're back. We decided to push this to a part 3 because really a practical example of the concept of how to organize your house comes from, we just had a trip out to Seattle. It was really cool. It was a nice honor. Our pastors are expanding the church that we go to out in Seattle now, and they've taken on that role. So they're kind of like Pacific Northwest overseers, which is pretty cool. You know, it's great promotion for them. And also just another opportunity to advance some kingdom territory in a city, you know, that matters to the country. And it's just fun to see what they're doing. And then they invited us along and said, hey, would you like to come? Because we'll go spend a, day and a half, 2 days together. And you guys can help us, get to know the people out there and serve the way that they needed us to serve. And this is one of the things that we really looked forward to when we moved out here, was being able to spend time with people we really care about and that stretch us. And so when this opportunity came up, we're like, yeah, let's figure out a date that'll work. And we did. And, I can't stress enough that even us as parents, we need to be putting ourselves in a position for us to grow, for us to change, for us to develop, for us to be stretched and also to replenish, because we got a lot of responsibility in our lives. And, we have to grow us. If we're not growing us, we can't grow other people.
Correct.
Right? And so we took this trip, and it was great. So you want to talk about, though, the household part of this? Like, how did we organize our 6 kids for a trip? Well, we're going to be gone. I was gone for 2 nights. You were gone for 1. But so what's this process look like?
Yeah, I think, first of all, everything you just said makes so much sense, that everybody needs to have the opportunity to get around other people that stretch them and that they want to, iron sharpens iron, right? And so, parents out there, sometimes if I can just give you a little tip, I know it can be hard depending on the age group of your kids, how often you can get away to do these kind of things, but prioritizing it and getting some help so that you can do that is so important. I mean, I remember when we didn't even have family near us to help us when our kids were young. We had to figure out how to either bring on, full-time nannies, or we needed to figure out how to bring on people that could stay with our kids that we could trust so that we could take the time to go grow ourselves and be together. It is so important. If you are,
it's an investment that's worth doing, right?
It is. And it really helps you stay sharp, not only outside the home, but in the home. And so I just encourage you, if some of the stuff we're talking about, you're like, oh, I don't even know where to start to have that opportunity to go do that. We don't have our house, running smooth enough to be able to leave our kids with anybody right now. I encourage you to work on that. Make that a priority, and It won't take you long. But it is being consistent. I encourage you to do that and then start planning an opportunity to go on that trip and go for it.
For sure.
Because it matters. It really does matter. And our kids feel so much more confident knowing that we have people that are pouring into us, and that's so important. So
first of all, though, because that's a really good point. I mean, how would you suggest parents would do that? What are some specific action items that they could take right now? So I'm picturing the family that maybe has like a 3-year-old and maybe a 5-year-old or 7-year-old, or maybe all 3 at the same time. And they haven't really taken the time to travel out without the family, because of all the new stuff going on and all the dynamics and responsibilities now. How would you suggest that they actually get started with this
I
process.
mean, first of all, I would have a chat, husband and wife, on some people that you would trust to stay with your kids. So you're on the same page with who's staying in your home. What does that look like? If you have family that you trust, great. You're blessed for that. If you don't, who's somebody that you can either hire or bring on or invite into your home that could watch your children for you? So be on the same page with who's staying at the house. I think is super important. Typically, moms are a little more nervous about leaving the kids, mainly because of all the different dynamics going on in the household, the roles that are going on. And your kids best, right? You know them best.
Right.
Typically, in our situation, Greg would be like, I think they'll be fine with that person, but be on the same page. Just be on the same page.
And you have to do some serious vetting.
Yes, you do.
You have to know who these people are that can be in your house. And having your kids ever stay somewhere else, a whole different ballgame. Because you can't even just vet the person. You got to vet everybody that's around that person.
Yeah, that's a whole nother dynamic.
That's a whole different topic that I think really needs to be addressed at some point and taught better, because there's just too many bad stories, to not be super cautious in today's world, right?
Yeah, too many things can happen.
So anyway, yeah. And, you and I with that kind of philosophy, we've always just been like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. Like, I don't really care if somebody tries to call us overprotective or whatever. I don't care, because we're never going to allow one mistake to happen. One mistake is not just a small thing, when it comes to any kind of potential abuse of your child, right? That's a lifelong thing. So we're really cautious and careful about it. And we've even taught our kids that if mom and dad are super cautious about it, it's because we're protecting you. And we're not going to go into a bunch of negative stories so you guys have bad dreams or nightmares. But you just need to trust us that there are just things that happen to kids sometimes, and we are never letting them happen to you. So when we're walking through an airport, this is our process. When we're in a store, this is why you're going to be close to us and never out of our sight. Like, we go through and we don't just teach the what, we always teach the why. And because of that, again, our kids don't have a problem with this. They're actually thankful that we do this, So, and I'm going on a tangent here, but
no, it's good.
It's
good
really, really important. And so, okay, so one thing is, if you guys, first of all, it's like the first part of this is getting on the same page just about, okay, how can we as adults, how can we invest in ourselves? How can we do things that aren't just like, okay, I'm going to go on a vacation and, just go kind of veg. Sometimes you need to do that too. But how do we invest in ourselves to grow us? What opportunities are around us to do this? And maybe that is you go on a marriage retreat kind of a thing, because it's going to be working on you guys' marriage. Maybe there's probably a little vacation wrapped around it or something, or maybe it is some kind of a personal growth thing, or maybe it is investing in spending some time with people that grow you, But first of all, get on the same page about that. And then how often are we doing this kind of thing? Are we going to try to do something like this like twice a year? Once a year? Is it once a quarter? And so that's the first thing. Now you can start saying, okay, well, now we got to get a little prepared for this. So the second thing is, all right, so we're going to have somebody watch our kids. So who's going to be staying here? Who are we going to have watching our kids? And now how do we build that relationship? And how do we get that person trained up to do it the way we want them to do it, right? And then what else would you say?
Yeah, and then I think especially if you're talking about the younger age groups and stuff like that, having your kids on a good schedule helps taking these trips so much easier.
That's true.
I mean, I just remember at one point having 5 kids, 5 and under, and what we had, 5 kids, 4 and under, actually 5 kids, 4 and under at one point. I just remember without that schedule, nobody could have watched my kids. I mean, that's just too many kids with too many things going on. There needs to be a schedule. And for us, we kept it up on the fridge. So whoever was staying at the house knew exactly what was happening, when nap time was, when it was time to eat, when it was playtime, when it was time to kind of, relax at the end of the night, when it was time to read books, like all those kind of stuff. I was really strict on that kind of stuff because I just knew the importance of when I went on a trip with you or was going to go somewhere, that I want things done in a way that it was my standards. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to know when I could call home and check in and know that it should be going well. I mean, the last thing you want to do is go on a trip and it's like chaos. You call home and it sounds like a party's happening all the time and you can't get a hold of anybody and you're starting to stress, well, did something happen? Why aren't they answering their phones? I can't get a hold of this person. Are my kids okay? Just too many things can happen. So we had a strict schedule for all the kids, especially when they were younger, on what was to be expected and what was going on. Always planned ahead, for meals and stuff like that. I will just tell you again, if you have young kids, expecting somebody to not only watch your kids, but make all the meals and do all the chores and all that stuff is a lot. And so we would just have a good schedule with the food, what was going to be made, what's going to happen.
Yeah, and not even just the burden on the person watching, but also we just know that if your kids aren't eating right and they're eating garbage, then that adds all new layers to how they act. Too much sugar and they're super hyper now, or they eat at the wrong times and now they can't even sleep well. Then they get more cranky and tired the next day. It just it adds layers of complexity that's unnecessary in this.
And especially when I'm trying to go on a trip and maybe fill myself up or get some quality time with you, I'm not looking to make it more stressful at home.
That's right.
Another thing,
you're getting calls all the time while you're trying to grow you because things are a mess, then it isn't replenishing or, exciting for you.
And another thing that was really important to us, again, was just making sure that not to try to overdo what's happening at home. Like, I don't know how many times, it sounds like a good idea. Oh yeah, they can have a play date while we're gone. And oh, that'd be great if so-and-so came over and, swam with them, or yeah, that'd be awesome if you want to swing by and bring some dessert for the kids. And
or if it's, grandma and grandpa or something. And it's like, oh guys, we're going to go to the zoo at this time and we're going to go do this thing in the afternoon. And we're going to do this thing in the evening. The reality is after the zoo thing, everybody's exhausted, especially the grandparents. And so now all these promises were made. And now the kids are trying to do stuff and they're wearing out grandma and grandpa, right?
Yeah, we found that the simpler it was back home when we were on a vacation or fueling ourselves up was better. I will just tell you, when you leave your home, it's not the time for your kids to also have to be on vacation. You know what I mean? As parents, we do so much for our kids. They live the best lives. Parents, you are doing a good job, and there are times for your kids to enjoy everything to the highest degree. Greg and I work really hard to make memories with our kids that they'll never forget. And so, when we try to take a little break for ourselves, they don't have to be having the time of their lives at the same time.
No, it's so important what you're saying, because the reality is, and all parents will relate to this, when we all do family trips, those trips are way more of a vacation for our kids than they are for the parents.
Correct.
It's really hard work when you're on vacation and you're organizing all the components and setting things up, and the hotel space isn't ideal, but the kids love it, but we're not getting any sleep, and we come home tired from those trips. So when we're trying to do a trip that replenishes us, you're right, it isn't their time. I love that you just said that. It is not their time to be on vacation, and they need to understand that.
Yeah, and I think just teaching that up front to whoever is watching your children, or if your children are old enough to explain that to them, is so important. So those are some of the things I can just say, I think if you start there, because I don't want to make the list so long that you're like, I'm never even going to be able to go away. You know what I mean? I will just tell you, simplifying some of these things and doing some things up front will make it so much more enjoyable when you leave. And we've done that forever. We have taken trips and done different things when our kids are all ages, babies, because we knew how much we needed it. And so do not beat yourself up if that's what you need. If you need that time, take it, but do the work ahead of time to make sure that you can, and then enjoy it, And then when you are there, parents, I just encourage you, trust your instincts that you do the right thing. Don't question yourself. Don't sit there, I shouldn't have gone. Oh my gosh, they miss me. Oh gosh, they're crying. Oh God, all this stuff. It's going to be okay, and all of us went through it. I remember, leaving and the kids being upset, of course. And even to this day, they always tell me numerous times how much they're going to miss me. Numerous times. The kids will tell me numerous times before I leave on a trip how much they're going to miss me. And I wish that I was already back, and, wish they could come and all that stuff. And I just have to very, very politely say, babies, I love you and I'm going to miss you too, but this is really good for mom and dad to get some time, and we're going to come back even better. So when I get back, whatever, tomorrow night, let's plan on having dinner together so we can tell each other what we did the whole time, and we can enjoy this time away from each other. So that's a couple things that I can say up front that would help, I think, you be able to really get out of your house and go stretch yourself and have some fun with your husband or your wife.
Yeah. I mean, these are super great tips. And I don't think this stuff's overwhelming. I think it just, again, it's intentionality. But, and maybe in the next episode, we'll address a couple more topics with this. But, we teach a lot of, just so people are aware, because if you've never had any high performance coaching, that's one thing that we do. And we teach high achieving people how to have alignment in their life. And a lot of it is simple, actionable strategies that are very specific to who they are and what they do in their family situation, right? But there's a lot of it is, how do we keep things simple as they can be in order to be able to get the most out of any situation, when, again, as a high achiever, you tend to try to almost overcomplicate things because you just have bigger dreams and you have bigger desires and bigger wishes. Well,
you think that you can do more because you maybe have the capacity to do more, but the simpler it is, the better it is. Yeah. And I will tell you too, one thing that I found is, remember that your kids do not get to dictate what's happening. Kids are kids.
Yeah.
They don't have the big picture that we have as parents. They don't have the responsibility we have as parents, and they don't get to dictate.
Yeah.
And that can go in traveling. That can go, in your household.
We just had this example, because like the age Hunter is, she really misses you a lot. And so she's just like, how long are you going to be gone? And she's not being rude about anything, but it's like, no, I need to go. I need to go do this. And you're so smart about it, because we also know she's probably going to start melting at night, and then she's really going to miss you. And I thought it was so smart where the other day we knew we were going to be going to a leadership in the evening. So we were going to be right around gone in that window where we would normally say prayers to the kids. We'll call them or FaceTime them and do prayers together like we always do at home at night. And you were like, you know what, I'm gonna do this before we leave for the meeting instead of at the end, because I know she'll be tired and right about ready to go to bed, and then she might melt more. So we're gonna pray earlier. We're gonna pray before the meeting when she's not at that exhaustion point. And it was such a wise move, So, anyways, kudos to you. You're pretty smart, chica.
I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.